Hey folks, Troubletcat here. You're watching Meet the Weapon, and today we're looking at the M98B. Not a particularly exciting game coming up, I'm not gonna lie, but it was a game that went pretty well for me, and I figured I should do at least one of these videos on the recon kit showing you a 12 times scope and bipod setup. I mean, it's not necessarily an awful loadout, although the way a lot of people use it is horrible. It's just not really my thing. I prefer more mobility, a little bit of a shorter range scope. I do have a laser sight shoved on there as well because, as I spoke about in the last video, there's no real reason not to have one. You can turn it off if it's getting in the way of your long range aiming or you don't want to be noticed, and it can save your life occasionally, although I didn't end up using it in this video. Anyway, before I get into too much talking about what's going on in the game, I will of course be talking about the M98B in real life. So the Brett Model 98B, or the M98B, is a bolt-action sniper rifle designed and manufactured by Barrett Firearms. Work on the design of this gun began in 1997. Originally they were making a semi-automatic rifle, but I guess they eventually switched to bolt-action. The plan was basically to design a .338 Lapua Magnum sniper rifle that wasn't based on any past designs, so a completely sort of original weapon. You'd be noticing if you'd watch this show a lot that most of these newer guns are either, at the very least, the sort of internal mechanism is usually based on weapons that came before for a lot of newer guns. The M98B is, it shares some features with the M16, but for the most part, it's a completely original design. I mean, yeah, I suppose it's definitely not, you know, a basic M16 design or anything like that. Far from it. It just has a few things in common, probably a few things in common with some other weapons as well, but it's not based solidly on just any one gun. So this gun didn't actually enter production until 2008, making it a very new weapon actually, and it's not currently deployed by any military as a standard rifle, so there's not a whole lot of combat data on it. But I will mention that the .338 Lapua Magnum round that the M98B fires is the same round that was used in the longest range confirmed sniper kill in combat, which was at a range of 2,475 meters, made by a British corporal of horse who, I didn't look into the British ranking system, but I'm assuming didn't actually ride a horse into battle. Craig Harrison. He was firing an L115A3, not an M98B, but the fact that he was able to land a killing shot at almost 2.5 kilometers does tell you a little bit about the sort of the potency of the .338 Lapua Magnum round that this weapon uses. The M98B features a 27-inch barrel, and holy shit, my cat is mad out in the hallway. The M98B features a 27-inch barrel, and in real life it's fed by a 10-round box magazine, although in the game these magazines only hold 5 rounds. I'm assuming that's for balance reasons, although the J&G 90 kind of throws that idea out the door, since the J&G 90 is a lot like the M98B, but with a bigger magazine. But we'll talk about that when we get around to the J&G 90. It also features several Picatinny rails. There's one above the receiver for mounting optics, and 2 side rails for other accessories. I've got a laser sight on one of them there, and it comes standard with a Harris bipod. So in the game, if you want to run this kind of 12 times scope bipod loadout, basically your best options are either going to be the M98B or the J&G 90. As I said, this isn't a loadout that really appeals to me. I tend to prefer an 8 times scope and a straight pull bolt for my longest range shooting. I'm pretty happy to control the scope sway with my breath holding and just, you know, aiming. You know, I don't mind doing that. And I tend to find the 12 times scope, I mean, it can be good in a way because at long ranges it does make it a little bit easier to land those headshots because you're just a little bit more zoomed in, makes it a little bit easier for that precise aiming at like 300 meters plus. But I find that you sort of lose out at anything under about 100 meters because it becomes hard to aim at people, particularly moving targets, when you're zoomed in that much, unless they're quite far away, which is why I generally prefer an 8 times scope, as you can still use it at those extreme ranges, but it's not so bad at more sort of medium ranges. It's a little bit more of a versatile optic. However, if you are somebody who likes that super long-range precision of having the bipod on there so you don't have to worry about scope sway, and of having that 12-time scope so you can land those super long-range shots a little bit more easily, my advice to you would be, seriously guys, still get on the fucking objectives. Holy shit, don't sit on a hill outside your spawn. Don't fucking do it! Every time I see people doing that, it infuses me with the fury to kill. I get some good long-range headshots in this game. I think my furthest was at 431 meters. I get a couple over 200 meters. But I spend pretty much the entire game either on an objective or pushing towards an objective. And that's really, really important. Think of it this way. your role as a guy with this kind of loadout, right, is to engage enemies at a long distance. That's where your weapon gives you the biggest advantage over other classes of weapons. That's your job. I'm not going to deny that. It's your job to be shooting people who are far away from you, essentially. That said, that doesn't mean that you should be far away from the objective. Ideally, you want to be on the objective or attacking the objective and then shooting at people way off in the distance. You can see here I'm on C and I'm shooting at somebody sniping out of their base, managing to pick up a 400-something meter headshot. Couldn't quite read it in the preview window there. Just because you're long range, that doesn't mean you want to be far away from the objectives. I cut out a lot of my time here because I spent a lot of time not really killing people, but what you want to be doing as well, like you want to be moving towards those objectives, but you do need to keep in mind that up close, your gun puts you at a massive disadvantage compared to assault rifles and carbines. So, also scope went, holy shit, you'll notice as soon as I pulled out my sniper rifle there and had scope when I got shot by like 3 people. You'll see later on another time where I pull, as like, I'm getting ready to aim at somebody, as soon as I pull out the sniper rifle I get shot and killed. Scope glint makes people go crazy with bloodlust. Makes me go crazy with bloodlust when I see it. So that's why you'll see a lot of me hanging out with my pistol out or sort of jittering around a bit to sort of try and break up the scope glint and not be too obvious. Anyway, when you're moving up on an objective, you do need to keep in mind, first, make sure that you are moving up on objectives. Can't emphasize that enough. Holy crap, guys, don't do that sitting on a hill thing. Please, for the love of fuck, don't do it! Anyway, when you're moving up on objectives, you do want to keep in mind that your gun puts you in a disadvantage, and you want to take things a little bit slow. So you'll often see me, if I'm using a setup like this, which I rarely do, but I do it on occasion, I'll be sort of scoping out the situation and going pretty slowly. Before I move up, I'll look around a lot and try and see if there's anywhere I'm going to get shot from, pull out the sniper rifle, pull out the pistol, look around, and then I'll push up after I've established that I'm probably not going to run into somebody at close range. So you do need to be careful, but the point of that checking things out is not to check things out, establish there's no enemies there, and then wait for some enemies to show up for you to shoot in the head from 100, 200 meters away. The point is to scope it out so that you can move up on the next objective. Having some serious I'm really mad that I didn't take that shot when I had the chance, by the way. I should have been able to kill that guy. Anyway, having somebody with this kind of long-range capability can be really, really useful to a squad. As I said, I generally think it's better to run an 8-time scope, but, you know, same basic strategy. It can be really, really useful to a squad, to a group of players, to have this kind of extremely long-range, extremely accurate shooting. You can counter-snipe players on the other team who might pin you down. You can help them clear out an area a little bit before moving up, provide some long-range fire support, but the important thing is that you're sticking with your squad and that you're actually getting on those objectives. You're helping by engaging enemies at distances where your teammates cannot engage them, but you are still with your teammates. There's no benefit to you hanging back and not getting on those objectives and helping out. There's really not. Especially since, if you're the kind of player who plays like that, you generally don't get a whole lot of kills. You know, you're sort of, if you're hanging that far back, it's generally pretty hard to get a lot of kills. I got more, I don't know, no, I got a lot of kills with my handgun in this game. I think I only got like 11 kills in this match, which is why I cut a lot out. 16-minute game, and I got like 11 kills. 7 of those with the M98B, the rest with my pistol. So I guess it's only 4 pistol kills, but you do want to be pretty comfortable with your pistol if you're playing a loadout like this. That's why I'm using the 93R, which is, in my opinion, hands down, just the best sidearm in the game right now. To the point where it's a little bit overpowered. I mean, this thing is really, really brutal up close. And it's okay if people are a bit further away from you. You can switch to single fire, and it's pretty much like having an M9. Medium distance, you're probably better off with a Magnum or something, but there's nothing wrong with this handgun at those ranges either. And just up close, this gun is absolutely devastating. You can go up against 2 or 3 guys and take them all out if they're not particularly good, or if you have a better weapon for the range, which this gun often is. I'm as comfortable with this as I am with any of the primary SMGs, which is why I use it when I'm sniping, because you need a handgun that you're going to be comfortable with, because since you're running with your squad, I mean, you're going to be engaging long-range targets when they present themselves, but the fact of the matter is they don't that often. There's a lot of cover on most of the maps, so you tend to find you still do a lot of engagements with your pistol or at closer ranges, certainly. So, you know, if you don't have With a semi-auto rifle, I mean, you don't necessarily need to be that comfortable with your pistol, because you can use a semi-auto rifle up close fairly comfortably. Bolt actions, it's a lot trickier. I think I pretty much illustrated that in my SV98 Iron Sights video. You can do it, but it's a lot more challenging. So you want to be comfortable with your pistol. And I think that pretty much covers most of what I want to say about this weapon and about this playstyle. Basically, just stick with your squad, engage long-range targets when you can, but don't get so fixated on chasing like 500-meter headshots or whatever that you become useless to your team. You know, you're not. If you're far away from the objectives, you're not helping as much as you could. You could be on an objective and still shooting at ranges that your gun has an advantage. And that is what you need to do. You'll probably see. I'm not sure what I'm going to use on the M90B. I'm not actually sure what I'm going to use on the rest of the weapons in the recon kit. I haven't quite figured that out yet, because don't play a whole lot of recon. I did want to show this at least once. You certainly won't be seeing this loadout again. I don't like it. I don't hate it, but I just feel like I could have something better. But a while ago on one of my videos, somebody posted a comment saying, "Well, could you shove up a recon video showing an effective way to play that style of recon, that 12x scope bipod style?" And this is it. You're still running with your squad. There is no effective way to play that style of recon where you're at the back on a hill. I said that there sort of might be if you were a really good shot earlier on, if you were able to sit on that back hill and go 30 for 2 or whatever. That's great. Fact of the matter, I was really fucking mad that guy didn't have a med kit. I always get furious when people pack a M320 just because it means that they chose to have a grenade launcher instead of having something to heal their team. But mostly because when I pick up their kit, it means I don't get a med kit. Anyway, so if you're that kind of guy who can legitimately, 100% honest with yourself, sit on a back hill and still get a lot of kills and help your team in that way as a slayer, you're going to be even more effective if you're pushing up on the objectives and engaging targets before they even get to them from the objective. Fact of the matter is, if you honestly believe you are effective on a hill 200 meters from the objective or further, you're going to be, and you might be. I have never really seen anybody particularly effective ever at that range. I'm not going to lie. I've never seen anybody do amazingly well doing that in my 500 hours of playing. The best I've seen is people doing sort of averagely. But assuming you're good at that, you're still going to do better if you get on those objectives, if you get in there and then engage targets from the objective instead of from away from the objective. So that's my thoughts on that style of recon play. That's the M98B. Not a bad gun if you want that sort of extreme long-range stuff. I generally prefer a bit of a bigger clip size, a bit more mobility, but not a terrible weapon. That's all for this video, guys. Got my stats in here as per usual. Let me know what you thought of the video, and until next time, Troubletcat out.